Or the south side or the north side, not tuned to the greatest. Home team for the home teams. Both sides got our own rings. On the mound or the long ball, but we don't put the wrong strings. Yeah, it's that time of the year now. Wrigley or Ganty, so the whole league that we hear now. New show with a new mood, discussions and interviews. Trade rumors that might be. This is Pinwheels and Knife.
People don't know there's like an extended version of that song.
Oh yeah, that's only
that song. Yeah, that song keeps going.
There's like a full tune,
for the YouTube audience. You can download podcast and listen to the full version.
Yep, and while you're there, subscribe. Jerks. Although throw that ticker out. Yeah, there we go. There we go. All right, you guys ready?
Yep,
sir.
Dude, I'm so nasally. This damn sinuses. I sound like Professor Fink from The Simpsons. Gloomhaven. All right. 3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? It is Thursday, February 23rd, and you have found the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. I am your host, Matt Zwaski, a.k.a. Southside Zoe, a.k.a. Father Zoe. And with me, as always, Mr. Aldo Soto.
Gonna try to be as positive as possible this episode. Try to avoid any backlash. Trying to avoid any lawsuits. Don't want any of that.
Nope, none of that. Looking at you, Fids, the good Reverend K. Fids.
I just thought we're all here pulling by the same string. I don't know. We're pulling by something together. That's what we're doing.
Pulling something.
And NASCAR Mitch.
I'm pissed off. The Daytona 500 this week, and the driver I was pulling for did not win. Neither was the manufacturer, so it sucks.
We're going to talk about that, bud, because I came prepared this week for NASCAR Minute. NASCAR Minute is going to be a little longer than usual this week because...
Oh, yeah. It's going to be the NASCAR 500 minutes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a NASCAR.
I'm
going to feel like that for the...
Hey, we actually got people watching us on Twitch.
There you go. Shout out to the Twitch.
What up?
I always want to be a Twitch streamer.
But also, if you are on Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, go to YouTube real quick.
And the Twitch channel while you're there.
And that.
Be our first Twitch subscriber.
Share it.
Probably.
I think I subscribe to us on Twitch. I don't
know. No, we're firmly in the single digits.
Yeah. Yeah.
That Twitch game.
But yeah, we need to get those subscribers up. But we got a lot to talk about. We got TA, Elvis. We got Rios, Cubs fifth starter. Conflicting reports about Contreras' contract offer from the Cubs, which I promise all of you will not have to sit through what I sat through yesterday about it.
I'm so glad I muted that shit.
Oh, wow.
I was going back
how they treat us
later, and it was like, it's still going.
We got to listen to you bitch about some dude because winning a race because his car wasn't made at the same factory all day on Sunday.
Yeah, at least that's interesting.
I asked legit questions on Sunday about NASCAR, which I'm very curious.
I have one when we get to the NASCAR minute.
Yes, I have a lot because I lost money and I'm hot.
At least the NASCAR texts are like a minor inconvenience. That was like a thumb workout scrolling through trying to reread all that stuff.
You know, there's a button that has an
arrow. That was like a 15-minute time effort to reread everything.
Kevin caught me in the perfect time. I was like not doing anything.
Oh, I could tell. I could tell right away. I could tell right away in our group chat that there's times when Aldo started answering. I'm just like, well, Aldo has time today, and that's what I'm just like. All right, here we go.
Well, and you know that I've been drinking coffee
afternoon
because I'm messaging like massively, and it's fast. And it's obviously caffeinated, which means I'm obviously sitting on the shitter too, because that's what coffee does. And I've got a free second away from like the teenagers.
Yep.
You got the fastest fingers in the wet. Like you can fire off like a paragraph in like 10 seconds. You'll see like that bubble come up and it'd be like 2 seconds. And then like, boom, it's a paragraph. It's like, holy shit.
No problem. My problem is sometimes I just hit send after each sentence instead of just like building a whole paragraph.
Yes,
and
we're
a nice prose. So like instead you get like a bing, 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 Morse code for like, help me.
Yeah, we're aware.
Are we aware of this delicious cup that I'm drinking from?
Make that shirt, Kevin. Fastest fingers in the West.
You know where I got this cup from? I got this from this really nice fanny pack that came in the mail yesterday.
It is real. The fanny pack is real. And
Ivy fanny pack. It fits at least 6 to 8 natural light, and probably
Hold that
8
bad boy
night
up
clock.
again. Hold that bad boy up again. Look at that.
You know what we need to do?
Kevin
I'm
did
in
the
a-
research. 6 to 8 beers.
Yep, 6 to
There you
8
go.
beers fit in this baby. You can bring it to the tailgate. You could also fit your mini bong if you want a mini bong. And if you're a chef, you could put a whole box of nitrous in there. That fits if you're a chef. So and you make
You know what we need to
pastries
do?
and use whipped cream.
So you know how they had like that billboard, like the GoFundMe to get like the Fire Jerry billboard.
Yeah.
I'm in this group chat or like Facebook group called NASCAR Shit Posting, and a bunch of them pulled some money together to sponsor an ARCA car, and they had like the paint scheme, NASCAR Shit Posting on the paint scheme or whatever. We need to do that with the Pinwheels and Ivy. Like you look at that cup, that would make a great looking paint scheme. GoFundMe, we get our face. On the front.
This is a 1 liter jug, right? I mean, I want to carry my 1 liter Cubs jug because I'm walking through, the neighborhood around Wrigley, and that's the wrong zipper. There's 2 zippers, guys. There's 2. You can put your gum or your spit or your
One for the weed,
you can maybe
and
put your cigarettes in
That's
here.
a deal because we only charge you for 1 zipper.
That's
but
right.
You get 2.
And then
We throw in a free zipper.
free
yeah,
zip.
I mean,
Right.
honestly, I mean, look at this, and then just all this space. There's so much room for activities.
Guys, this is what I do for a living. Leave the selling shit to me. Just give me the product and I'll sell the shit out of it. So if you act now, we'll throw in the second zipper for free.
Works.
It
Look at
works.
that. Oh yeah.
So let's tap this keg. And now this show is sponsored by Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Make sure you download the app, turn on push notifications so you'll be the first to know when Mitch drops his next fascinating story. Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com. Also brought to you by Uncle Bud's, 9700 South Cicero in Oak Lawn. Go check it out. They do have Lenten specials for the people that get down like that. A lot of fish going on over there at Uncle Bud's, but still their normal weekly specials. They got trivia. They got what else they got going on over there? Bingo one night, karaoke night. There's always something going on. At
We got a
Uncle Bud's.
fish taco Tuesday.
Yep. Go check them out. Actually, they do. That was a special they put on their page yesterday. Go check them out. 9700 South Cicero. And then also, as Fizz has been modeling so graciously throughout the beginning of the show here, we got a merch store. The link is in the bio. It's in my bio personally. It's on the show bio. Got everything. We got nice little cups there. Look at Fizz modeling.
A little
the
wine
cup.
chiller, if you want to if you want to get real classy and throw some rosé and an ice cube in there on those.
A nice buttery Chardonnay.
Yeah, a nice.
That's a sleek looking cup.
It is
I mean,
nice
hold that
looking
thing
cup.
back.
It really did come out really well.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it's very clear. It's vivid.
But we got hoodies, pullover hoodies, zip up hoodies, t-shirts, hats. There's fucking Chuck tees.
We have
in
an
the
apron.
store.
We have a cooking apron.
My wife just said
Cattle
she wants
report
it.
shirt.
Yeah, there's a cattle report shirt.
Most importantly, the kettle report shirt.
Yeah, for every cattle report shirt that's sold, Mitch's internet gets a little better.
True.
Just say it.
That's why
Just,
the show was delayed. It's because the internet out in the sticks.
Yep.
Not that good.
I listened to Mitch's radio show and I almost fell out of my chair laughing because he stumbled on like 3 different things and he's like, and I'm Mitch, and that was me trying to read the news. And I was fucking dying, dude. He said it so deadpan too. I was like, this is the best thing ever.
You know what? For when the Sox signed Elvis Andrus, for some reason, like they have Elvis Presley in the country music playlist. So I was just sneaking in as many Elvis songs as I could, like Subconscious Celebration of the Elvis
Ooh,
Andrus
nice.
celebration. None of the Missourians got it, but I was pretty proud of myself.
That's shocking.
Is it called Missourians or Missourians?
I don't know.
Missourians?
Just
I don't even know.
misery.
There's misery. It sounds misery.
Just
really.
misery.
It is.
But go and buy some shit from the store. You'll look all fancy and shit at the Sox games this year or Cubs games. Can't guarantee you'll go all the way, but I'm guaranteeing at least second base if you show up rocking some Pinwheels gear.
It's pretty true.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like having a wingman without even having a wingman.
Yeah, 4 wingmen.
yeah. If you get
It's
the
true.
fanny pack,
I mean, honestly, someone might even dry hump your fanny pack.
yeah,
Uh,
fanny pack
right.
might be guaranteed third base.
That's some bumping and grinding.
Guaranteed third base, actually. I will guarantee it. So stamp of approval.
What is third
Guaranteed.
base anyway? What is it? It's just
I don't
like,
know
what is-
these days. I don't know.
I was
I
gonna
don't,
say
kids
these
are
days,
weird.
third base
dude.
can.
Third base is like an OTPJ, HJ.
Don't ask me as a good Christian. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I don't know. Everything's
I've been-
different.
Make
It's
room for
really
me.
hard to know. It's really hard to know when you haven't been to the ballpark in a while. But
I'm just a home run hitter these days, bud.
runner and out here on Home Run Derby.
Yeah, yes.
You let
very-
TA worry about the singles. He's getting to first base. Though.
Yeah,
It's
he
like
gets
the Adam Dunn effect. You're either hitting a home run, you're striking out, or you're walking to the couch.
Three outcome. It's three outcome.
Three outcome.
Always. It's
a
now.
rap group.
Uh,
Yeah, little Zan opens for him. Yeah, it's a good good time to remind everybody, subscribe to this channel for
This is some hard hitting baseball analysis you've gotten here in this
more
first
takes
10
like that.
No
We
reason
are
not.
getting close. We're almost halfway to the goal,
I
people.
was halfway there.
Tune in next week as we break down Abbott and Costello's classic comedy routine.
Be a part of the movement. Where will you be when Pinwheels and Ivy hits 1,000 subs? I mean, it's the anniversary of Miracle on Ice. I think this is going to rank right below that in historical events.
Hope it's not an urn.
So-
Shit.
You got to get there,
Hurry up.
folks. Be part of the movement.
Tell your sons, tell your daughter,
Yeah,
call your friends, call your neighbors.
you're old and you're telling
Mhm.
the kids stories. You're gonna want to tell them that you were part of something. You were part about getting Pinwheels and Ivies to 1,000 subs. Just do it. Do it.
Dog loves it. There you
Do
go.
it. See, dogs are involved. Create your dog an account and subscribe from that account.
I think if you're going
know-
like famous days, it's like Pearl Harbor, Kennedy assassination, 50 feet of crap, Pinwheels getting 100 subscribers. It's like one of those.
I'd actually buy that shirt. Maybe we'll make that shirt and give it away to one of our subscribers.
And our podcasts are also closed captioning. So you can get it in all sorts of languages. So there's that.
Didn't even know that. Added bonus. We don't even charge for that.
Nope.
Impress that cute chick from Taiwan with your Pinwheels and Ivy shirt.
She'll be in the chat soon, posting
Yep.
some links to her page.
Russian broad, she'll be here.
A kissy face, and emojis and some wet. What is that? What does the water mean? I don't know what that means. Wait.
So when a man gets excited, Kevin, we'll talk about that later.
Whap. Sorry. Sound that you when you hit a ball well, you square it up. It's whap.
Whap. Yeah, I saw some whack rapper saying like, "I got that whap," and I was like, at first I was like, "What?" And then yeah,
What is this, Elmer Fudd? Yeah, you're whapping.
it took me a minute. I was like,
MC whap.
"Oh, okay, good for you."
It's an acronym
Moist.
for Waps against performance. It's analytics.
So
Whoa. That's a made up thing, right? By the people, mainly women, who say they get freaked out when someone says moist.
Nope,
I
that's
think
true.
it-
My sister hates that
No,
word.
I know that they do, but like that's like what is it? That's
it was a song. It was a
Like,
Cardi B song.
Yeah.
but like
But
what?
before
No.
Oh no, it's
When-
a long running thing. Like every
Yeah,
sister.
when
knows I
people are
used to
like,
know
"Oh my
these-
god, don't like," I hate when people say the word moist.
I used to throw moist towelettes at her. I was such a little dick. I was an asshole. I used to taunt her frequently.
If you need a bucket and a mop, is it really worth your time? I don't know.
You know that's
It's-
subjective.
That's a lot of cleanup,
I was
man.
gonna say, Mitch. I don't know, buddy. It could be.
I mean,
I don't
I'll
know.
tell you that story when you're a little.
Compares-
I'll tell you that.
compares-
I'll tell you that story when you're a little older, kid.
you're using a mop. You
Yeah.
didn't throw that on a tarp. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
Sometimes you gotta get it.
30 seconds for a couple hours of chores, mopping up the floor afterwards. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it.
I walked into the room thinking, why is there tarp all over the furniture? And I turned around to make sure that cousin Vito wasn't behind me.
Sorry, Mitch. Mitch looks like he's climbing the rope in gym class. He's all uncomfortable and shit.
Mixed
Uh,
with honey.
All right. So shout out to TA for giving us a bunch of shit to talk about today.
Something happened.
TA's been on a little bit of a press tour, which first and foremost, very unlike him. He usually doesn't do interviews. And then all of a sudden he's like the only White Sox player being interviewed in the last couple of days. It started with on Tuesday, he did an exclusive interview with Barstool Carl,
Turns out it wasn't that exclusive.
who
'cause-
yeah, right. He just hit publish first.
I have the quickest internet.
But Carl, who used to be part of Barstool Chicago, I don't think he's part of that anymore. He just handles the starting nine show for Barstool now.
Barstool Baseball.
Oh, I'm sorry, they rebranded it.
They did.
Okay, Barstool Baseball.
R.I.P. Jake Arrieta on Barstool or starting 9.
He doesn't do it with Carl anymore.
I don't believe so.
I can't keep up with that shit. But so he published on his interview on Tuesday. That was a tough interview to sit through. I'm not gonna lie. And then Chuck Garfien put his interview out on Wednesday, and apparently so did The Athletic, and so did the Sun Times. TA was in a talkative mood, and I think part of it is he does feel a little bit more pressure to do shit like that because Abreu's gone. Like, make himself more available to the media and be out there. But one thing that I learned in the last 2 days, and it's not going to be what people are all up in arms about, is that I'm a big fan of TA as a player. TA sucks at interviews. I don't know how else to sugarcoat this. It's not even like because of what he said or like what it was. Just he just talked into his chest. Like the whole interview, it made it a little harder to understand. And I know, like, he's got that southern, like, quick kind of draw to what he says, but like he doesn't really enunciate. And then it seemed like before each interview, he went into the interview with like a tagline in his head, and he was just it was almost like Super Troopers when they bet each other who could say meow the most. Like he was like just trying to get that tagline. Like if you listen to the Barstool Carl interview with them, or Barstool Baseball, however you want to.
Barstool, by the way, can I just say this? Barstool Carl sounds like the epitome of like a really average pirate name. If you were like a pirate on like a ship, I am Barstool Carl. And the guy's like, yeah, fuck you.
So in that interview, they talked a lot about people criticizing TA, and one of the biggest criticisms that's come up is how he doesn't hit for power anymore. And he must have said 10 something times in that interview, I can get to first base. And when I get to first base, I can turn that into a double or a triple, or I can score from first base. Like he just kept reiterating that point over and over, and it made it like tough to listen to. And then the Chuck Garfien interview, that's the one that everyone's all fired up about today or Wednesday. If you take a shot every time he says, I want everyone to pull from the same string, it is string.
Trim.
If you took a shot, you would be in this hospital right now getting your stomach pumped for alcohol poisoning. Like even the 108 guys couldn't handle that because, yeah, it was. It's tough to listen to, and I get his message, and I feel like, well, here, let's start at the beginning of where everybody's getting mad. So I don't know, Beef. This is if you listen to the interview, man, he says it like 50 times.
Yeah. Like, yes, we do know you score, Tim. That's what started all the bullshit last spring.
So let's start here. I've been on a couple shows lately talking about the business of podcasting and the business of blogging. One of the things you do in this business is you try to draw people into your show. So Chuck Garfien did this great sit-down videotaped interview of him and Tim Anderson, and him and his team put a clip together from that interview to put on the social media. And yes, Beef, not even that clip could be.
Chuck says the same thing about the 108.
So they put this clip out there that makes it sound like Tim is attacking Chuck, attacking fans, like all this stuff. And then so everyone goes crazy. And then right away, Chuck tries to do damage control. It's like, no, go listen to the whole thing. And if you listen to the whole thing, or you read the transcript from the interview, which I read the transcript because it was way more easier to stomach than listening to it. He and Chuck just have that kind of relationship, and like he doesn't really go after Chuck at all. He doesn't really go after the fans at all. Like
it was the biggest non-story.
Yes.
Like I don't know what everyone was all fired up about. Like I listened to that like 3 times. I listened to the clip a couple times. Listened to the whole podcast. They just sound like they're joking back and forth. Like I mean, he's had him on a couple times.
Right.
You can tell they have like a friendly relationship.
Yes.
I didn't know he blocked him on Twitter and all that, but
it wasn't as
it was
serious.
such a non-story. It was so stupid.
Yep.
He did give him the eye though. He went he gave him the Chuck. Like that was one part that I laughed out loud about because he was like, you know what you did.
And I do get where like
what is Tim upset about though is the fact that that Chuck wasn't a big enough cheerleader when things were going bad and everyone was playing like shit, that the media wasn't like there to support them. It's not the media's job to support you as a player. They're there to cover you. That's their job. They're not there to lift you up. And I know that Chuck of all people is like, he's like the Kaplan of the White Sox, which is he's the water carrier. He is a kind of a homer, but the fact is, it sounds like he takes personal when journalists are keeping the objectivity, and they're not there to coddle you and tell you, hey, you're going to be fine, Tim, go get him, Gipper. That's not their job. Their job is literally to report on you and how you've played and to break down and analyze your performance. Anything beyond that isn't really journalism. It's just entertainment radio.
And I get that. I don't even think Tim was thinking.
No, I don't think he just.
I think it was more like Jose's gone. He's trying to defend his guys. Like everyone's being negative about us. We're just trying to keep positive vibes. I think that's what it was. He was trying to get to, and it was so poorly articulated that it gets like twisted into what we have now. But it was really, I don't even.
It was okay. It was a big non-issue that people kind of blew up. I think people are still just really angry about last year, and the smallest little thing is going to set them off. And as soon as he said, like, I saw the fans' negativity, and I wish the fans would pat us more on the back and tell us, like, we got you. People took that as Tim hates fans. And
no, that's how you get a lot of people in trouble. You say enjoy the ride, enjoy the ride. That's a buzzword. It's a trauma. There's trauma there, and he just didn't realize that he was a little bit tone deaf about it. But he didn't know. Like,
if you listen to the Carl interview, the Barstool Baseball one, the best thing about that interview, I think, was when he talked about how much Jose Abreu meant to this team and how much he learned from watching Jose Abreu come to work every day and play through injuries and his work ethic and how much he learned from him and all this stuff. And it's just like, okay, well, to hear Tim say that, I was like, that's awesome to hear, like, that's great. And then in the Chuck stuff, like, what do you want him to say? Like, yeah, I hope the fans boo the shit out of us because we're playing like shit. Like, it's just, I don't know what people expected. I think it's a big nothing issue at all.
I mentioned this in our chat, though. My little conspiracy theory is that Tim is out there and he sees that there's a lot of drama going on elsewhere and that people are talking about off the field stuff. And why not hop onto an interview and try and draw the fire away from there? Because we're not talking about somebody.
Kevin Anon. What is this?
Yes, K-Anon. This is K-Anon. This is my K-Anon segment, real quick, brought to you by Six Oil Hats. But he's drawing the attention away to say, hey, look at me, don't look over that.
I think you're giving Tim and the organization as a whole way too much credit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
he's quiet, he keeps his head down and like goes about it.
That's what I expected, was nothing. Like, it was like almost no talking, just like speak softly, carry a big stick because you got a lot of proof. Last season was your worst season as a pro.
I will say, well, I'll go ahead, Zoe. I'll let you.
I was going to say, we've said it on the show probably a billion times. This actually might be a good shirt for the show. Winning fixes all this shit. And if you're going to talk about this, us against the world, Lance Lynn's out here doing interviews talking about a huge chip on his shoulder, how they had a shitty year last year. Tim saying how the year was shitty last year. The year was shitty last year. 100% it was shitty last year. But, like, okay, you guys keep talking about all these different things that are motivating you and all this shit. Just go win games, and no one's gonna give a flying fuck.
Yeah, like, the thing is, too, but you know what they're doing. You know what they're creating. And we talked about it before we got on.
Yeah,
created an us against the world mentality. It actually has to be us against the world, which means you have to start alienating everybody that's not us to put them into the category of the world. And I mean, these guys will latch on to anything. I mean, think about Michael Jordan against LeBradford Smith, Washington Bullets. Guy scored 37 points. And, Jordan shot just 9 for 27. And so Jordan claimed that Smith said after the game, nice game, Mike. And of course, it was 36 in the first half, 47 for the game the next time they played each other. And then they asked him if, the reporters came up and said, did he actually say that? He said, nah, I made it up.
No.
Why? Yeah. It just motivated him. And these guys are looking for anything to grasp onto to keep that mental edge. And if us against the world plays, then us against the world plays. But get used to it. That means that if you're not us, you are the world. And that means you're against them in their mind, no matter if you are or not, doesn't matter. Their perception, they're painting it, and if they're gonna create that sort of narrative for their team, that's great. You know what? Those teams play really well. Chip on your shoulder teams are awesome because they go out there and they play their ass off. They get a little chippy out there too. Maybe you get a couple dust ups here and there too. A lot of little attitude. And you got a team that's out there saying, fuck you, I got something to prove. And that's a good team. They want to shove. And that's okay, but it sometimes can be frustrating because there's a million ways to do it. You don't have to do it that way necessarily.
And I think we've seen it too in the past, like 2020, 2021. They came in with like, hey, we got something to prove. We're an up and coming team. And that's why I think they were so successful because there wasn't as much pressure. So I think, I see why they're trying to do that. I think it's good for them. On the flip side too, I will say, and I hate to pivot to Elvis already, but when you listen to Tim and all these interviews, like you can tell he's a quiet type guy. And especially with the departure of Jose Abreu, I think is the sneaky underrated aspect of that pickup is Elvis, I think, is a good voice to have in the locker room now because you've heard about his leadership a bunch. We'll see if he can play second base. But I think the fact that he was so influential last year by all accounts, and like Lance Lynn, as good of a vocal leader he is, it's great. But for a starter, you're only pitching once every 5 days. I think you need that position player. So with Jose Abreu gone, you need that like leader to step up. I think Elvis can kind of be that vocal presence they need in the clubhouse because Tim is like the emotional leader almost on the field, but you can tell he's not like that big rah guy. Like you've seen the videos even when he was into the All-Star game. He's more of a quiet type. So that's why I think, and it just reaffirmed it listening to him.
Funeral that was his All-Star acceptance.
Right? Yeah, he's a quiet guy. So Elvis is going to be a good pickup. Even like if he hits 230, obviously that would suck. But the fact that now they got a guy in the locker room that I think can help steer him in the right direction, I think that'll be good.
I think the biggest news before we dive into the Elvis stuff, the biggest news that came out about Tim Anderson today was his work with Driveline to reestablish the stride in his swing, and him saying he feels like his batting title self again when he's swinging the bat. That to me, that's the biggest Tim news of the day. I can give a shit about all this other crap, but I don't know.
It's also hard to generate power when you got an injured groin.
Right.
A lot of hitting, your power is coming from your legs.
And I don't know if you know this, Mitch, but he can get to first base. He can score for first base.
I did know that.
Yeah. And when asked about why he doesn't steal, he said, shit, just tell the man in the dugout to give me the green light and I'm good to go. So there you go, Pedro. Give him the green light. He's good to go.
There you go. You want to see what Tim's doing?
Of course.
Oh, not the sex tape. Oh, the swing.
Not that one.
Don't start shit. Although.
What a ballsy play by him to use a wife analogy in that clip too.
Oh, I know. And there was another thing that Carl said that it put it on a tee for him to be like but he instead said like his boys. I don't know. It was bad. But anyways, go ahead.
I mean, how does he look? How does this look compared?
I'm trying to watch the front leg. I wish they did a side camera.
This is just like an updated version of Wii Baseball.
Right, I can do this in my living room.
It is a Wii Baseball. But look at how he's doing a good job. He's living in the gap to gap, which you want to see a guy in a cage, see where he's putting it. He's going gap to gap. So he's not
hovering that front foot again, though. Watch his front foot. It hovers for the timing. I think it's the second swing there.
Forget the swing. Look at those nice shoes he's got on.
Yeah, those are pretty sick.
He's got his front foot down on time. So, it's down.
No, I know, but watch the hover, though. That he got rid of that with the groin injury, and it looks like it's back.
Oh, to get more. Oh, he got a little bit of a leg lift. Yeah, you're seeing that right there. So he's getting a little bit there. So
that went away after the injury. So
he's one of the few guys that I've seen this offseason that added as opposed to took away from this. A lot of guys you're seeing take this front side load timing mechanism and going down to just a lift and drop or lift and slide, which is what we're seeing, like what we'll talk about later too, with like guys like Seiya.
The other big thing from this video.
Is this TA?
No, that's Elvis.
Oh, okay.
I
was about to say. Damn.
No, the comment. The other thing from that video is he's pulling the ball. After the groin injury, he wasn't doing the leg lift, and he was just trying to poke the ball to right field.
See, he's doing.
I feel like he did that.
He's going left center. Like that's where he want to go. That's gaps. That's a guy with his speed. There he goes middle. He's spraying it where you want, to be honest. That's what a guy with his speed too. If he's not leaving the yard, that's where couldn't think of a better place for a guy like him to put it.
Well, he can get to first base.
And he can score from first.
He can score from anywhere, really.
Make that shirt.
Are we talking on the field or off the field?
We'll leave that one.
He circles the bases. All right, all right.
And then you did mention the other big move that I didn't really see this coming, to be honest with you. I thought too much time has passed, but the White Sox signed the 2-month sensation Elvis Andrus back to the team with the understanding that he is going to basically the starting second baseman job is his to lose.
I was going to ask Yuzo and Mitch, obviously White Sox fans, and then so I mean you live on Twitter.
Yep.
It seemed to me White Sox fans were a lot more excited about Elvis Andrus than Benintendi.
So
because the impression they got of
yeah,
him
because
is that he was dominating.
Yeah, it's
which
the devil you know type situation.
No one watched him in Oakland. Like, look, I mean, it made him a little bit better. I mean, I'm more comfortable with Andrus there than Rami Gonzalez or whoever they're going to try out. And like I said, with the leadership aspect too, I think that was very encouraging because you could see it last year. Like he provided a spark. His baseball IQ was on display, which that team lacked. Like it's not a smart baseball team.
Jesus,
so he helped there. You could hear him talking in the locker room. Even Rami Gonzalez, who lost his job to him essentially, was like, yeah, I was really excited he came back. They worked on double plays together. Gonzalez asked him to sign a bat before he left because they didn't know he was going to be back. That's how much he meant to him before they left. So that part I like from the baseball aspect. It was kind of like, I mean, they're a little bit better. So, I mean, it's good. I don't think the hype
quick,
that
Mitch,
on Twitter is worth
quick, Mitch, baseball, what are they projecting Elvis batting average?
253.
Ooh, you're optimistic, boy. 238.
238.
That's basically what his career average is.
That's what he
How many,
is.
Right around his career average.
How many home runs for Elvis this year?
4.
I say 9.
I was gonna say 14 because he had 7, but I feel like that's a bit high because he's been under. I'll go 14. Lower.
9.
8. 9.
10.
12.
11.
11.
Yeah, that was close.
Literally the one number you didn't say. Yes, it's 11.
Look, as far as Elvis is concerned, he's been preparing for this role all offseason. Look, didn't you guys see the story today that he had taken some glamour shots in his Sox uniform in the offseason just because he missed the White Sox so much? I mean, we got it right here.
I was like, what the fuck?
God.
Sorry.
I'd be more concerned.
We need a rim shot sound effect for some of these jokes because I am dead.
The hitting is I'm more concerned about that than the actual transition.
For the podcast listeners, this is why you have to subscribe to YouTube.
Yes, subscribe to YouTube.
Missing all of Kevin's jokes.
You
see all my jokes, and there's an extended cut version of that, which is just 7 minutes of me doing dad jokes.
Yes, as the comments are pointing out, he does have an 87 OPS plus for his career. Here's the thing with Elvis, and again, I'm saying this under the stipulation that I understand that this is spring training talk. Okay? So before everyone starts giving me shit, I understand. But it was nice to hear him say that he wasn't the same from his elbow injury and that part of the good 2 months he had with the White Sox was due to part that he figured out what he had to do to correct it. Now, if that's the case, and he could sustain some kind of longevity of how he played for those 2 glorious months last year, now we're cooking. You know
Well,
what
if
I
that's
mean?
the case, sign him to like a multi-year deal, get rid of TA, call up Colson.
Oh,
You got your new middle infield.
So the big although you'll like this one, the big thing I saw from a couple people, I think my guy Ben started it, but that Colson is being prepared to replace Moncada, not Anderson. People are getting wild out on these streets, man.
Okay.
we need the season to start. We have officially entered that part of the off-season podcasting where I'm saying like, fuck, we just need the season to start because people are getting wild with this shit. And we saw it today. Today was a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
With the TA shit. Like we
And,
need,
like the whole thing with the TA.
You're a hater, TA.
yeah, you hate fans.
Because the thing is, because like even in the interview, or even in the clip, he says, like we don't do the talking. You're talking, so it's fine, whatever. But like we play, and like he's right. Like whatever gets done, they have to prove it on the field. They know that. It was mainly frustration of like hearing the constant negative talk, which again, he's like, yeah, we're bad, we deserve it. And like even how
literally
you
said
said so,
that.
like how do you stop all the talk? Like you have to go out there,
You win.
play or win games, right? But like it's February 22nd. Like there are no games. Like there is only talk right now. So what else is there? Like it's almost here, and even spring training. Like if they start winning, like that doesn't matter.
Well,
like we still have
you
to
gotta-
wait until March.
And this is the other thing too, and because there's no storylines, we put more weight in all these comments.
Yep.
Well, you got to take them with like Rick Hahn came in. Oh, Rami's really been turning some heads this offseason. Really impressive.
Hahn
2 days
fooled me.
later, they go and
Hahn
replace
fooled
them.
me.
So you got to take all of these with a grain of salt.
Yeah, that's him
And-
doing his job.
Oh, by the way, I was going to ask you this: do you think the perception of the Ellis Andrews signing changes if they would have signed him back in December?
Yes.
If it was, or would have fans been more of like, really, we're settling for Elvis Andrews?
Yes,
100% yes.
yes, and that's why I was more
Yep.
optimistic that because I like early in the offseason, I was like, no, we can do way better than Elvis. Like, I think it was an
Oh, who's that handsome gentleman?
He yumpers at it again.
It was an outlier from what he did. Like, there's better options available, and then because they didn't, and we were heading into camp on the verge of a Rami
glad that
Gonzalez,
was just a
Andre
bush
Alberto
camp.
battle for second base. It's like, yeah, Elvis is the
Yeah.
lesser of the six
That's
evils they
Jay again.
brought in on minor league deals.
If you're dying of starvation and someone shows up with like the worst food, I can't even think, like liver sausage or something, you're gonna be like, this is the best shit ever. And that's kind of what the White Sox situation was at second base. It was still no confidence in it. And then we're in the middle of February, and here comes, a very tenured vet who had a good 43 games with the White Sox last year. And so people are like, okay, I was a little surprised with some of the reactions I saw on Twitter. This is what they needed. Like, it's like, yo, it's
He's
Elvis Andrus.
perfectly acceptable. Like, that's where I was. It was like, all right, perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
signing.
And his best season,
Is it going to be better or worse than Johnny Rollins? Jimmy Rollins.
better.
Jimmy Rollins.
Better than
It'll
Jimmy and
last
Johnny.
longer than 2
And
months.
Johnny,
Yeah.
Better than Jimmy and Johnny. But I think Ian said it in the comments here. Yeah, his best season was 17, and then 18 is when he got drilled in the elbow. And if I'm looking right now, if you look at the numbers, it definitely reflects that. Like in 2020, I know it was only 29 games, but he batted 194. Like there's a significant decline after he got drilled in the elbow. So if he really did figure out the fix there, I mean, sign me up.
Despite the fact he hasn't played a game at second, I'm more concerned about the hitting, whether last year was a fluke or not, than I am about him
And
adjusting to second base.
This is the final point. If it doesn't pan out, it was $3 million.
Right.
But I did notice that Hahn, he kind of slipped it in during his multiple
He did what?
bullshit.
Oh.
Slipped it in during his multiple bullshit sessions the last couple days. But what this signing also does, if TA does go down again with injury, or Moncada gets hurt or something, you have a better substitution there.
You know what I'm hearing? Why is Rick Hahn putting that negative energy out there? I think
He said, because I think it's more of a PTSD after the season he went through last year, where he's just like,
Well,
we have no depth, so now
Where it
at
gets-
least I got a guy.
where it gets really interesting too, because now Rami, who was the front runner to be the second baseman, it makes that, and the bench battle is already interesting because they're going to have the 13 pitchers. You would imagine they got a backup catcher, most likely Seb, and then likely you're at Leary, but like now it's kind of up in the air because Rami can play multiple infield positions too. It's who do you take as your fourth outfielder? And by the way, you got Jake Berger and Gavin Sheets there. So there's 2 roster spots up for grabs with a lot of guys competing for it. And it makes it really interesting now when you bring Elvis into the mix.
Sorry, I know Beef Loaf ain't gonna want to hear this, but I take Rami on the bench over Berger.
Yeah.
Just more for the versatility.
Yeah.
I think Sheets gets the nod too, just for being a power lefty.
If those are the two, no, because I think as much as people like to trash on Leary, he's another guy. He's been around there for a long time. Obviously, the people they like him. They're paying him $16 million.
He doesn't
It's
have
hard for
options.
me to. He would have to have a terrible spring, and someone's gonna have to blow him away for I think him to lose his job. Like I
Yeah.
think he's gonna be.
He would have to be like the worst player statistically in baseball. Oh, he
I was
was.
gonna, that being said, Mitch, The White Sox have shown in recent years that they will cut a guy even if they owe him the money.
I'll cut a bitch.
They have, like, when we've thought like, oh, they're not gonna cut Dallas Keuchel. They owe him like $12 million or whatever it was.
Or
So
Adam
what did it
Eaton.
take? It took
Adam
him being like his ERA ballooned up at the end of 2021, I think it was.
Yeah.
It got to the point where he was unpitchable. The door is now ajar for them to get rid of Leary, but I still don't think he's gonna be the roster spot.
So what would the bench be? So Sebi, or the backup catcher, it's gonna be Sebi.
And then I think
Rami,
Leary gets the other spot, and then you got the two spots up
Leary.
for grabs. So it'll be Leary. So if assuming Leary's on the team, that gives him 2 more spots. So they probably have another 4th outfielder. So it'll probably be Rami, and then I actually think it would be a Rios or Marisnik. As much as people like Billy Hamilton, all he provides is speed. He's a good vibes guy, but I
really think the bench is going to be Sebi, Lurie,
Sheets.
Romy, and Sheets.
Yeah, I can see it. And I'll take Leary as a 4th outfielder. Like, he's a capable.
I hate him in the outfield, but yeah, I hate him in the outfield, but he's definitely capable. So, yeah, people in the comments are starting to agree. But yeah, I mean,
well, Eaton was cut too, because once again, it got to a point where you could not trot him out. Like, Leary's going to have to do everything possible to lose the job. Like, that's
and then before we switch over to the Cubs, I do want to take this time to take a break, and then our cousin podcast network, if you will, the Tainted Glove Network, on Saturday for the White Sox spring training game. Our boy Brian is going to be hosting one of the, what do you call them, Fids? Playbacks for the White Sox spring training game. I know Fids is going to be on there with him. I'm going to try to make it if I can. Saturdays are tougher for me, but you should tune in there. Those playbacks are pretty cool. It's basically just you get to hang out with people, watch the game. You have the game on it. It's like this, but the game's on. And then I think we're going to try to set it up where we're going to do some playbacks too this season. But yeah, if you're watching the game on Saturday, why not watch it with Brian and Fids? So it's like the Manning brothers, but with Fids,
but better.
And Brian. Yeah, a lot less.
Fids is
a lot less.
damn dirty Cubs fan, so you have to tolerate him.
Vest.
Yeah, we'll be talking in-game strategy, which I'm a big fan of, and the development of spring training. So that's the stuff that I'm actually can't wait.
I mean, how much in-game strategy goes into the first game of spring training, though?
No, but you're
spring training games last year, which was a huge mistake because the one ended in a fucking tie. It was awful.
Not necessarily that, but like even at every at bat, you're looking at things of what they're working on with each individual approach. There's a lot of things to look at for every single at bat because everybody's working on something different. That was a hole last year that they're trying to, plug, I guess, if you will.
I think Fids, that's a better way to put it. When you say talking about game strategies, it's like, dude, it's
I'm not talking about
these dudes are just trying not to die.
Runner should be moving here. Like, no, I'm talking like this is what they're working on here.
And the other thing, Fids, I want to bring up is our fantasy baseball league filled.
No, we haven't done that yet. We open it up. We'll post a link on our Twitter.
How many spots do we have open though?
We have with the 4 of us, that makes 8 spots. 8 spots. So we will post that link.
Didn't Matty Mitch win it last year?
I think so.
So Matty Mitch gets the auto buy. So that
Matty Mitch is automatically in if he wants it.
And we'll post that link, but you have to be subscribed to the YouTube page. If you don't subscribe, if you're not, and it's draft day, you're going to get booted.
It's a fun league, and also you can try to keep track of how many moves Aldo makes in free agency.
They're capped. So this year we have we have a $100 budget now. To guarantee that you're going to get a player you want.
All right, so Matty Mitch is in. So as the defending champ, he gets the automatic bid.
We got a new Mitch coming for that title this year, baby.
There goes me at the top of the standings.
We got 2 Mitches. We got a Mitch. And
you had a great strategy though, Aldo. I'm not even going to knock it. Aldo would just pick up pitchers. You would just
I mean, because I just try to win 3 out of the 5 categories, which would be wins, strikeouts, and like either WHIP or ERA.
Right.
But as long as you're out on that, keep picking up as many pitchers as you can. Try to get the saves and the wins.
So I basically could tell you daily what time Aldo took his morning shit.
Oh, yeah.
because I'd be sitting there and then all of a sudden I would just get bzz, 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 all of a sudden picked up this guy, dropped this guy, picked up this. I'm like, well, Otto's taking a shit. So it was every morning around the same time too.
Do you want to remind, if you will, I don't know if you want to remind everybody what happened in the playoffs?
I don't know. I think he was busy looking at the results of the movie draft.
Actually,
where he
I do
drafted
remember.
Ed.
I do remember the play. Actually, no, I don't. I know I lost, but was it to you, Kevin?
It was to me.
I was going to say he didn't just say that because
I am
it's just
I
a
am
giggles.
the.
Sick brag, bro.
Let's see the.
That was-
What is
that
that?
was-
I've been the Padres of our fantasy baseball league. All the hype, but then can't get done.
So
Wait and
I
see.
think I'm going to only be in this league this year. So I'm going to give this my full attention this year.
I do have to say, as someone who didn't before we started this league, never played fantasy baseball, you do get a lot more familiarized with like the players around
Yes.
the league.
100% yes.
For
And we
sure.
also added some more scoring stuff too, by the way. Side note. Forgot about
There
that.
you go.
We added a lot of acronyms.
I'm trying to sign in so I can look at last year's.
I'm trying to pull up last year's too, and it won't let me do it. Like usually there's like a little button where you can click where it goes like to go to last. I guess what we
It never happened.
we gotta decide on when we're gonna do the draft though too. So I have to
Yep.
set that draft.
Well, yeah, we're going to do the draft like we've done it in years past. We'll be live and we'll do
We'll
the
post
draft.
a link like the week before, and then first come first serve, get all the spots.
Yeah, we'll
Basically,
announce it. I got a feeling on who's going to be there, but
Because I think opening day is March 30th, which is a Thursday. We're gonna record the day before.
we actually have like Pinwheels and Ivy swag we can actually give away
That's right.
this year, stuff like that. So that's good stuff. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had
make
last
your
year.
shirt,
Wait,
put that in the prize package.
oh, that's regular season.
And people are gonna be
'Cause
tanking.
It has. Wait, Fizz, it says you won the league last year.
What?
Oh,
It says right now. It says number 1, Sabo's Rexpex won the league. Number 2, Cease and Destroy.
oh yeah. Did I forget to mention that?
Wait, when did Manny Mitch win it? 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was 2
Yeah.
years ago.
No wonder Matty Mitch was so quiet in the chat all of a
I was just waiting for somebody to pull it up besides me. I didn't want to toot
Yeah.
my own horn.
Well, and just so you know, there's 5 teams already registered in this league, so somebody just re-upped it. I think Yumper's in because his team is Mitch's Cattle Report, which Yump gets an automatic bid anyways. So
I got to figure out Maddie's
hanger of a name.
place where I could find Maddie's and invite him to it.
yeah,
Add team. maybe?
Whoever's
Open it
team
up.
was-
Let's get crazy. Let's do like a 16-team league.
We want to make it a
Let's
16?
really.
no.
Let's really
It stays
see how
at
much
12.
we know about the rest of the
It stays at 12. Brian,
10
I
years.
got you. It stays at 12 though. It stays at 12.
That draft would
Otherwise,
take
I'm going to be
10 years.
starting Joe Adele and no, it stays at 12.
Like one of you guys is gonna have to get Clevenger if it's a 16-team league.
Ugh.
All of a sudden the tune changes.
How desperate do you
notice
want
the
that
guys
win
are really
zone?
needing to pick.
Who's the? I'm just looking right now. Who is the top preseason ranked player? Who do you guys think it is?
Trey Turner maybe because he was last year because he
Mitch,
steals a lot of
who do you
bases.
think it is?
It's either him or Otani. Wait, how is Otani
That's
treated?
what I'd go with.
How is Otani treated though? Is he?
I think it's still Otani batter, Otani pitcher.
Oh, well, no, it's not
Yeah,
Shohei
okay.
then. Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is number 3.
Mm-mm.
Fids, are you looking at it right now?
Me? No. I think
What
that.
do you take a screenshot of, Kevin?
Yeah, you've been
Yeah.
taking screenshots this whole episode, dude. You're not slick. I can hear
Yeah,
all of that.
And you have your audio is linked up. to your computer.
No, that was my elbow. It was cracking.
Who do you think is the top fantasy player going into this season?
Chris Bryant.
Like James B. Swanson. I mean, I would think it would either be Otani or Trout, probably. I mean, I
It's
don't know.
Trey Turner. Aldo was correct.
It's because they put so. It's because he steal bases.
Yeah,
more
it
than
goes-
You know, one John Hand hype video, and that's what it'll do.
Here's your top 10 going into the season: Trey Turner, Acuna, Judge, Jose Ramirez, Julio Rodriguez, Kyle Tucker, Jordan Alvarez, who by the way came out today. He's hurt. Juan Soto, Mookie Betts, and then Vlad the Man Jr.
I'll have to keep all that in mind when I set out to defend my title.
Oh, that was the screenshot he was taking.
Yeah, absolutely. There's my trophy. Look at Sam. Like, isn't that cute? I got a little trophy right there too.
One of like 10 screenshots because we hear it every time you do it. Fitz.
Well, the other ones are just of like you guys in awkward positions that I'm going to put onto a.
Yeah, I figured as well.
What do they call it? A wish wall.
That got weird quick. All right, so the last bit of thing before we go into the Cubs side, subscribe.
Subscribe now.
Subscribe.
Do it right now.
Subscribe.
Do it.
Fizz, let's do a swing breakdown.
Whom?
Your guy, the one that
Let's
we
get
talked
our
about.
jacked boy, our jacked man. Say it.
Yeah. My goodness gracious.
I mean, he's almost as big as Mitch.
Yeah, I've been working out.
Yep.
We're talking. Mitch is getting country strong down
Yeah, I
there.
was gonna say, country.
Right.
He's been chopping down the.
He's on that Adam Dunn workout plan. He's country strong. That was one of my favorite home run calls of all time. When Adam Dunn was in Cincinnati and he hit one like out of the stadium, and I was just like, he's country strong.
By the way, did you upload that guy to our?
No, I didn't. Not the new video. No.
All right, so yeah, we got Shohei Ohtani. If you guys aren't familiar with Shohei Ohtani, last year we actually broke a swing
Wait,
down. His
who is
I
this guy?
wish the Cubs had. Not yet, Kevin.
Sorry,
Not yet.
Suzuki, sorry,
Oh, buddy, here comes the Fizz is racist. Oh, buddy.
I have the Shohei's bad right now. So again, this is going to be a thing all year because I really want
Just, hey, fellas, I had fun doing this show. We just got canceled.
Anyway,
Thanks,
You know what, guys? Unsubscribe. No, I'm just kidding.
So Nico Horner has made some adjustments to his swing. This is anyway, Seiya Suzuki. So if you guys last
Like,
year
we
broke
can't even say like, oh yeah, because Say is like a lefty because he's a right-handed batter. We can't even do that.
no, it's literally because we were talking about Ohtani. So anyway, so we got Seiya in his regular position. If you saw him last year, we broke down his swing. It had a lot of Mike Trout resemblance, but he had the traditional high leg kick with his front side. And we're seeing again, this is something that we saw last week with Andrew Vaughn. We're breaking down Andrew Vaughn's swing is the fact that he has quieted down that front side and he's now done away with that high leg kick and moved into something more of a slight lift and slide to keep that weight back and have a little bit more flexibility with your core as far as keeping your weight transfer but still being able to get your hands out fast.
Well,
and this seems to be a running theme right now with a couple of the guys that I talked to, because I was telling you guys about what Chris was working on. Bryant all offseason was same thing, quieting down that front side and being able to turn on baseballs more, getting the hands through the zone quicker. This obviously helps do that. Nico Horner's taking that leg lift out. Seiya has. Andrew Vaughn has. I mean, we were joking earlier, but Tim Anderson added one, which is strange. He's like on the other side of this, but you're seeing this a lot because players are starting to realize the Mookie Betts style of baseball, which is he's not hitting towering home runs to left center into the second deck. He's hitting 345-foot pissers into the left field corner over a 330-foot fence. And so now these guys are realizing that if they can get inside of a baseball and turn on a baseball, the opportunity for them to leave the yard increases, doesn't decrease by changing and making the slight adjustment. You can do away with the towering home runs now. If you can get your hands out front and piss on some baseballs down the line, you're going to leave the yard just because it's just short compared to where you're hitting the baseball to the 375s and 380s in the power alleys.
Question. Does it help to take away your front foot load up or anything when you gain 50 pounds of muscle?
Well, I mean, it doesn't hurt. It helps because you can trust your hands a little bit more. You can trust your hands in core. He is a beef loaf now. He's big. Let me turn off sorry, you don't have to hear the sound for this, but watch his leg kick now. It's just quiet.
There is no leg kick.
Right. It's just a lift and slide. Boom. And he's got that front foot down. Everything looks good. Point of contact's excellent. Head's down. You could drive the stake through the back of the head to the tip of the toe. All those good shapes. And then but look at this point of contact. He's inside the baseball. Hey, look at his hands. They're tough.
Jack, dude.
Dude, he's jacked, so that's all I'm seeing.
Jack, dude.
And look where he puts the baseball. That's down the left field line.
You could bounce a quarter off that ace.
And a good finish.
He is just a specimen right now.
What baseball?
Yeah, and then here you go. So ready, and then just set. His hands are nice and quiet too. I mean, he's not doing a lot at all. He's just load, and look at this. He's coil. This is his athletic coil spot right here. Look at his weight, his midsection, and how much this is about to just explode with some energy here towards the baseball. Ready? And then down. Now look, watch. Front foot down.
Subscribe.
Front foot down, and then and he's twisting. Look at the hips. Speaking of Elvis, hey, hey, and he gets in and look at just right through the baseball, just driving those hips. Boom, and then comes through the baseball again and a good finish, getting inside the baseball. There's so much. I can see why they're giving him. I mean, he's getting some really great projections when it comes to his production this year, and I thought maybe those were a little bit hardy, but seeing his size and seeing just the way he looks right now, I think that those might be, as long as he's healthy.
From you two, over under his home run total, 26.
That's a good number.
I say 29.
Under 24.
I'm gonna go over because that boy did a full Rocky IV montage for like 6 months straight.
Now I have to ask
batting
you,
practice is a little different than live pitching, though.
I have to ask you,
26 is a
though,
lot of home runs.
But yeah, but like, was that 26 like the first half?
No, season.
How many did he hit
It's
last
the first
year?
half. I'm thinking I'm going over.
How many did he have last year?
He
was
did not
hurt.
have I think he had like 14. I think.
Ooh, and he was hurt.
And he was hurt.
He got
didn't
hurt,
have
but that was like a whole different body ago. Like,
Yeah.
he doubled his.
Here we go. Let's
All
find.
right.
Let's show you what he looked
It was
like.
a different
I
body.
didn't
It was a
Rich,
guy
I didn't
adjusting
talk
to
me into
MLB
it. I'll hammer
baseball
the
for
over.
the first time.
Mitch, he's a perfect example of what Aldo was talking about, how you pay attention to guys more when you have him on your fantasy baseball team. I had him on my fantasy baseball team, so I like paid attention to his season. So I think he's over 26 homers.
The other thing that besides whatever adjustments he's making with his swing, with his batting stance, is he did have a little Yoan Moncada, like circa, what was that year he just struck out looking all the damn time?
Yeah, he had a standard rookie season dip.
Yeah.
Like the thing I've been talking about, what's going to happen to Colas this year, eventually at some point, there's going to be a dip.
There you go. There's the side by side video.
Yeah. That leg kick is significant.
Yeah, turn the volume off.
Fidge, you need to hide your DMs when you share your screen too.
So that's one. There's a good slow motion. Again, we already saw that, but again, front foot down, real quiet, and then just throwing those hips, just straight from the baseball, finishing good through. Now, look at this. Is last year.
Dude, if he puts his legs together in that clip from last year, it's as big as his one leg this year.
Yeah. I mean, look at his core, too. His core is much more established now. I mean, he's got bigger ass, too. I mean, that's a great thing to have horse legs.
It's all about that base.
About that base. About that base.
But that looks like if I didn't know any better, I would think that's two different players. Like just on the size and the swing, like that's two different players.
So I did look it up to make sure he played in 111 games, 14 home runs. So he missed like about 50 games there. If he would have played a full season, that comes out to about 20 home runs last year. He didn't. Also had, like you said, Zoe, the rookie struggles, the injury. But what I was saying was like he has a great eye at the plate, had a good walk rate, but he also took there's times where you're like, dude, come on, the pitch is right there, you're a good hitter, like swing. So
He's got a little more
you want to
protection
see
in
some of
there,
the swing rate go up this year.
Yeah, and he'll have more protection, so I think he'll see a couple more.
He'll have more
hittable
protection, and again, he's playing his home games in Wrigley, so that helps the home run total.
Yeah, you talked me into it. I'm hammering the over.
Yeah, he's hitting into the basket.
That was a good number, though. That was a good number.
Stay healthy.
Yep.
And he's going to lose some of that mass as the season goes on because you build up a little bit of that mass because over the long haul of the season you just burn, it dies because it's just a lot of work.
Right. So we're coming up to the hour mark of the show. Once we hit the hour mark, I'm starting the timer. You have 7 minutes to talk about Wilson Contreras' contract.
Oh, that's too long.
That's a lot of time.
Well, I don't think you two know how long it took me to read all those messages.
Yeah, but they had multiple syllables. That's not our fault.
So conflicting reports came out about the Cardinals catcher Wilson Contreras, about what the Cubs offered him as far as extensions were concerned. Cubs fans are all still very much in their emotions about how the core was handled, which I understand. I get that. But this definitely fired some people up more than others. Fids, don't go anywhere. Get your ass back here. I'm giving you your time right now, dude. Oh, he's taking up. All right. So go ahead, Fids.
Well, I mean,
Contreras,
Wilson Contreras was on the radio, and obviously he's a Cardinal now. He's not a Cub. He left in the offseason and signed, a nice 5-year, $87 million contract with the Cardinals or something like that. And he was just on the radio, and yeah, I mean, it was brought up because again, in the past, Jed has said, yeah, we've talked in the past and this, but they didn't, there's no real specificity. It seemed like there was always an inference that the Cubs had been negotiating at least in some way, shape, or form, considering the 87 hugs and tributes goodbye they gave him last year and the year before, thinking that he was coming back or whatever, traded. But so there's this, and so Wilson goes on the radio and he asked, he's asked, when was the last time you got a contract? And I think he said 2000. Someone said 2020 or something like that before the shutdown. And he goes, no. The last time the Cubs even approached me for anything was 2018. And it was he said, what did he say? He said 5-year, 24.
He said 4 years, 24 million.
And so so going from there to there, it could go to the upward scale of roughly 6 years. 30 was it 6 years 35 million?
No, I messed that up. We're already screwing up the story here. Wilson Contreras went on the radio. He said he got a contract offer 6 years, $24 million in 2018.
There it was.
And then Cub Zone reported after that there was I don't know if it was the later on, before, after, whenever it was, that there was reportedly a contract offer of 7 years for $35 million. That included 2 club options at the end.
So yeah, so that kind of sets it off, and there are people that are upset about the offer, and although I think you and I are in agreement too that's arbitration time. He was in the worst season of his career in 2018. Yes, his value when you look at the value, that was his least value at $8 million, I think, a year, based on whatever was it Fangraphs or whatever that did that whole a salary value thing or whatever. Every year after that was 18 to 20 million, but when you look at the market today, it does look like it appears to be a low ball offer. But when you look at it, the Cubs are trying to be savvy. They caught him in a down year, gave him an offer that would be a steal now. I mean, it's roughly, even if it's 7 years for $35 million or whatever it is, that's $5 million a year for a catcher that drives in 80 to 90 runs, maybe more, depending on the season. It's rough. It's a rough look, and that's it. So a lot of fans were mad about that. That wasn't even what I was upset about either. It's the fact that it was 2018 was the last time that he got an offer. And it to me, at least to me and a lot of other Cub fans I've spoken to, they felt like Jed has kind of intimated that he's been in constant talk with Wilson and negotiating some sort of contract here and there, that they were trying. And it just sounded all too familiar of stuff we've talked about on the show with some of the other core players. And that's where my frustration was the fact that it was just, they were never trying. And although you keep bringing up 2018, in 2018, I think the Cubs decided that these guys were all going to be catapulted at that point, and they were already preparing the cannon at that point. So it just goes to show that the Cubs really, this whole blow up wasn't some sort of whim. It's something that was years and years and years in planning, which is why they leak stories that are about false contract offers and shit like that. So it all just kind of comes to a head. It just plays more into the idea that the Cubs have known that they were going to be for. So that's that.
This is why, and look, I'm not going to tell you how to fan. This is why I think it's ridiculous when you're like, I'm not going to stand up and give him a standing ovation, because they totally screwed him. Well, of course he wants to stick it to the Cubs and go to their rivals, and he's going to be a heel and a villain. But he did a lot for that team. He was there for a long time. I think it's ridiculous that people that won't give him his due when he comes back is he signed with the Cardinals, our rivals. I'm not going to give him a standing ovation. Well, he left on terrible terms. They didn't give him a contract extension. He has every reason to be pissed at the Cubs. So what? He wants to go stick it to him. He did a lot for you. He deserves a standing ovation when he comes back to Wrigley.
He gets standing ovation in his first at bat, and then let's rock.
Yeah,
but yeah, absolutely. What these guys did for the Cubs should never ever be forgotten, no matter how shitty the front office is. No, all that stuff. That's not their fault. It's not the player's fault that they were never given an offer. You can't offer yourself. And, whether it's, KB, whether it's Contreras, whether it's Schwarber getting non-tendered, whether it's Rizzo, whether it's Javi, all of their stories seem to correlate one narrative, and it contradicts everything that comes out of Jed Hoyer's mouth. And that's the problem. Jed needs to just shut his mouth and let Carter Hawkins do the talking at this point, because everything Jed says to me is all just lawyer speak. And he could obviously say, no, we definitely, we've been in talks in the past. Yeah, fucking 5 years ago, bro. Like, don't intimate that it's recent. Be a little bit clear. You know that when you say that, you can say, well, I wasn't lying, but you knew what you were intimating. Like, so it's that kind of crap that comes from Jed that kind of frustrates me. And, it's funny. Is Carter Hawkins even real, or is he just AI? Dude, that dude was so impressive at the Cubs convention when he was speaking. I can listen to him talk all day.
Along those lines, though, and I saw for some weird reason it became a topic towards the end of the day on White Sox Twitter. People are like actually mad at Jose Abreu. Wildest take I think I've seen, and that's saying a lot because there is a lot of bullshit on White Sox Twitter, but that is one of the most wild things I've ever seen. Like, I
was thinking that too, talking about Wilson, but I think the Wilson one's a lot. That's a pretty big minority, though. I feel like with Jose Abreu, I feel like
it's loud though because it keeps popping up in my timeline.
Wait, why are they mad at him though?
Because the biggest thing that they're mad about is him sitting out his last game and not like.
I still think that was weird. I don't know what that was about.
And him, well, I think it was more just anger and frustration.
He was pissed how the season went.
Yeah,
and
he mad how the season went. He knew how this was going to play out. He knew damn well he wasn't coming back here. I don't care what everybody says. He knew the Sox weren't going to pay him. He got a great
came out the first time that they were like, yeah, it took Jerry to get him to come back because they were ready to move on before 2020.
He got a great deal from arguably the best team in baseball. So he's going to get to do things that he hasn't been able to do with the White Sox, which is play meaningful baseball late in the season, which, the White Sox could do that too. Yeah. KB and Rizzo didn't get a goodbye. But to be mad at a man for making the best decision for his career.
It's not like,
and he didn't go to the Twins. I mean, Wilson Contreras went to the fucking Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. And you have to know too, Brady wouldn't say shit with a mouthful of manure. Wilson Contreras is going to stir the pot. Wilson Contreras is like
Contreras going to talk shit all year. I am here for it too.
It's going to be a great foil. Jose's not even doing that. Abreu's not even. He's like, I'm so thankful for the time I played with the White Sox. He's never said anything but like nothing but love, and he's not saying anything like negative about the White Sox, like nothing. And so that's what makes it even more boggling. I can, because I know that Wilson said a bunch of stuff about like following and Yachty, blah, blah, blah. Cub fans have a definite, like, that's Yachty as a trigger word. And that makes sense, but fuck, man, Jose's
still going to get his number retired. He's probably going to get a fucking statue because White Sox love building. They don't like paying for free agents, but they love fucking building statues.
Yeah.
Wilson Contreras had 107 goodbye moments.
My goodness gracious.
And so he wants to follow in Yachty's footsteps. You know what Yachty is? Besides overrated, he's a legend of baseball. So of course he wants to follow in his footsteps.
The great thing about the situation with Wilson Contreras and the Cubs, I didn't listen to the interview. I don't know if he got the offer, like heading into the 2018 season, during the 2018 season, during the 2018-19 off season. I told you this, Kevin, like we can talk circles, but like we don't know all the details of any of these contract talks. But like other people pointed out how at the time what the market was, what players were getting offered extensions after 2 years in the league. That was like around the market for those guys. I think TA got like that deal. When we look back at what the Cubs transitioned to after 2020, with Carter Hawkins coming in, a new minor league, like just overhaul of their developmental system, it became pretty obvious to me, I think, but a lot of Cub fans too, they set that challenge to Wilson Contreras. We love your athleticism behind home plate, but you need to improve on framing. You need to improve on game calling, like game day prep or in between starts prep. And as much as I love the guy, and that's the other tough part, because like Wilson Contreras is a hard worker, but it just seemed like the hard work wasn't making the results better in the areas the Cubs wanted. And we saw it once they signed Yan Gomes, older veteran guy, but good defensive reputation, good game caller, good relationship with his pitching rotation. Then they did the same with Tucker Barnhart, because again, these guys can't hit for shit. But why do they sign them? Because they're going to be able to guide this, like what they want to focus on now, pitching and defense. That's something that Wilson Contreras just wasn't getting better at. And at the end of the day, I think the Cubs got what they wanted. They still had Wilson for those years, and then they tried to trade him. Didn't that's the failure, is not trading him, not getting anything for him.
But they had to deal with Houston. Remember, they reported that there was a deal with Houston that somebody kiboshed it at the last minute.
Yeah,
too, which sucks.
And then on the other end, Wilson Contreras won. Like, he bet on himself, and then eventually he got the big deal. And then the other great thing about it is, like, he signs with the Cardinals. So we're gonna know very quickly. Okay, was that deal worth it for Wilson Contreras? Was the way that the Cubs were handling him, like the way they were instructing him, was their philosophy wrong? And are the Cardinals just better at that? Because the Cardinals are betting that, like, hey, what we did with Yadier Molina, we can do that with Wilson Contreras. Because the reputation is out there. Wilson Contreras, not the best, like, game prep catcher in the league. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, the offers, like I said, it's fair, it's savvy for the time, is arbitrations. Mine was more the messaging out of the front office the entire time. Just again, the BS.
I just saw this handy dandy little Venn diagram on Twitter. I mean, who doesn't love a good Venn diagram? This is interesting, though. Since the 2019 season, only 2 players have had a 300-plus batting average, have hit 50-plus home runs, and have 50-plus stolen bases. Tim Anderson and Trey Turner.
Well, look at that. TA can get on first base, and he can score on his own.
Yep. But I just thought that was really minimum 1,500 plate appearances. I think that's important. But that's
Hey, where's I don't see Dansby Swanson on that list.
No, I do not.
Where's he at? Oh, there's Bogarts. Oh, there's Turner. There's Story. There's Lindor. Tatis Jr. I also don't see
where's Correa? Yeah, what the hell?
Where's Correa and his iron legs?
Interesting.
Does that say Tommy Pham?
Yep.
Tommy Pham.
Tommy Pham at what man? I've never been more wrong on a guy. I thought that trade that the Padres made, I thought Tommy Pham was going to be good. He was not.
God, he was so good in high school. He was so good in high school.
But I just thought that was really, I mean,
speaking
TA got his option, so TA is going to get paid.
Well, no, that's what I was going to say. So, speaking of crazy things that I saw on Twitter in relation to the White Sox, was that article from, I think it was Southside Sox, where they're like, Tim Anderson or the White Sox could seriously consider not picking up Tim Anderson's option. I was like, what?
So what?
No,
I think it's only like $12 million.
Yeah, if you can get TA for $12 million, you go ahead, you take that.
Yeah, like I don't care how good Colson Montgomery is.
No, and like I said earlier,
we'll find a spot for you. Hell,
Yeah,
they're
third base.
playing Andrew Vaughn out of position. They'll throw Colton Montgomery at catcher if need be.
There you go.
Saw some encouraging videos and read some encouraging, very spring training like quotes about Oscar Colas.
Okay.
It was Southside Showdown that wrote that article, though. Although
that's what it was.
Yeah,
my apologies.
But
I wouldn't put much stock into that.
Oscar Colas is kind of like Suzuki earlier. That boy's big. He is a strong young man. So curious to see. His AAA coach had a lot of glowing things to say about him. And again, like I said, it was very spring trainee-esque. Like, he can do everything. He can do blah, 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 blah. But, funny that you asked this, TMF, in the comments. While you're there, please subscribe to the channel. Who is in the best shape of their life so far? I've been trying to keep track of this. So, Lucas Giolito.
Cut 35 pounds.
Eloy also cut 30 to 35 pounds. Suzuki, obviously.
They're saying Rami. I don't know if that counts as best shape.
Yeah, I mean Rami's always.
Christopher Morel for the Cubs. That dude's jacked too.
Morel got jacked. Grandal supposedly has been in this new training program, and he's in great shape. Actually, Pedro like did a solid 5 minutes in an interview, like how he was so impressed on the condition all these guys showed up in, and he said it really speaks to how pissed off they were about last year. Again, that's the running theme.
I like
Okay.
Pedro. He says everything the fans are like thinking. He's like, yeah, there's times this team would look like they were sleeping. We knew when we were going to be able to beat them, like nights with the Royals. Yeah, he so far early impressions for Pedro. I like it.
I'm Pedro's on my good side so far. I'm liking what he says.
You just wait until his opening day lineups though, and Mitch, and you'll see how quickly Sox fans return.
Well, that's if I was talking to, I think I was talking to Beef, somebody I was talking to, and I was like, the best way to look at White Sox Twitter is if you look at it like you're like observing an insane asylum of all baseball fans. White Sox Twitter is like the greatest place on earth because there's just some of the takes are so bad they're funny.
The deeper you get like into the dungeons of White Sox Twitter, the takes get just darker and darker.
It's just, but you got to be able to laugh at it though. Like if you take everything so seriously, you're not gonna last. Like,
and you know what? We weren't saying this about Tony La Russa, his first spring training.
No, I feel way better, and it's not just. I guess when we say like we're big on Pedro, I'm big on like the entire coaching staff.
Yeah,
outsiders. They're outsiders. Finally,
I think when I say Pedro, I think I'm more alluding to like the entire coaching staff. It's easier just to say one name. But
you know who it reminds me of, and I know this is going to be a bad comparison. It might trigger some people, but it almost gives me Rick Renteria vibes. No, it gives me a little Rick Renteria vibes when he first took over because the team had been in a rebuild. They've been playing like crap for a while. And when he took over, he's like, look, we're going to make you guys proud to be a Sox fan again. Like, the team's going to hustle. They're going to play baseball the right way. You're going to get a good effort. And that's kind of the same message that Pedro Grifal's given out. And the difference is he has a much better team now to start with. So I'm optimistic. We'll see how the managerial decisions play out. But so far, so good. I like it.
Yeah, Pony
and
Boy.
I liked Rick too when he was here.
All the outsiders. I'm in on all of them. But yeah, and
except Dally, that dick. Oh wait,
yeah,
sorry.
that guy sucked.
Who?
My biggest thing though, as a fan, because obviously I don't need to have this chip on my shoulder from last season. Like that does nothing to me.
I'm showing up ready to drink 7 beers before the 5th inning.
7 beers? What are you in 8th grade?
You know what 7 beers is? Enough to fit in
that fanny pack.
Right in the fanny pack, actually. The Pinwheels and Ivy fanny pack. China.
Now I got a chip on my shoulder.
Last year's last year, man. Like it's just
put a chip on your hip.
I understand people bringing it up, but to dwell on it and I don't know. I think this year it's not the same team for reasons we spoke about at length on this show. Guys coming back from injuries, couple new guys, couple guys coming up from the minors, brand new coaching staff. Like, I'm gonna let it play out before I get mad. Personal decision for me.
It's a reset. We're hitting the reset. Done being pissed at the offseason.
And again, we say it up and down every which way on the show. We'll never tell you how to fan. Like, if you want to be mad, be mad. That's your prerogative, how you want to spend your time. But
we'll let TA do that.
Yeah. It's just, I kind of just have I don't want to say like a rosy outlook on this season, but they still got to prove it to me. But I'm not going to go into this like mad. Like, it is what it is. The team is what it is. Last year happened. And go win some fucking games now.
Isn't it amazing how expectation has such so much power over like enjoyment? Sometimes if you have over expectations, and when you come in just kind of like saying, let's see whatever the fuck happens. Oh.
Yep.
Thanks for the invite, Dick.
Well, you live in misery now. So
only a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'll be hauling ass up there for a couple games.
Yeah.
And when they're KC. Start my own section.
How far are you from that stadium?
2 hours, and also 2 hours from St. Louis. So, and they're going to be in both ballparks. So
I can't wait till the White Sox
be making an appearance.
I can't wait till the White
Oh,
Sox.
Brian, I'm there, and I'll buy you the beer.
The Las Vegas Athletics. Soon. Going to happen.
You guys want to do NASCAR minute? Because it's not going to be a minute. Because I'm fired up.
It's gonna be 500.
All right, let's get into this. Because
Oh,
I got
for that, real quick, before we get into NASCAR minute, do we want to make sure that you see this beautiful new contact lens situation?
No,
So
wasn't that a thing before? That was a
Was it?
thing a couple years ago. Like hitters were wearing them or something. Somebody else wore those.
Ooh,
contacts.
I think yes.
there's a defensive lineman for the Lions that had him, and he was
Yeah, it's like
terrifying for a
contacts.
while. Yeah.
Yeah, it's DJ Hertz wears these really red contact lenses, and they kind of reminded me because Zoe today in the car said his eye mentioned his eye too in the car.
Yeah,
Okay.
my eye's better, but it was fucked up earlier. But
It's a fine looking cap you got on there too.
yeah, let's get into it. Hold on, Mitch.
Oh, well,
Hold on. Prefacing this, I actually fucking watched NASCAR this week.
I know you did. I was gonna start. Well, all right.
I asked.
Let
for
Zoe do the
I
NASCAR
was
minute.
gonna break it down first, and then I'll give the floor to you because I know you said you had questions.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to, before you break it down, I want people to go into this knowing that on Sunday I asked for NASCAR locks because I was ready to bet. I got a bunch of replies, but of course I'm going to go with what my guy Mitch says. So I made those bets, and I had a bunch of shit else going on Sunday, and
Well, that was part of my NASCAR minute. I actually had that built in.
yeah, I sat down, ready to watch the end of the race, and I turn it on, and then this is go ahead, Mitch. Break it
All
down.
right. So we're gonna back it up just a little bit. I promise I'm gonna keep this as concise as I can, but to give everyone the full scope. So for Daytona this year, there's a little added intrigue just because they had a bunch of different guys trying to qualify that aren't usually in it. So one of them was Jimmy Johnson, who just bought his own team, and he's like, I'm bored in retirement. I'm coming to race. Jimmy Johnson, legend in the NASCAR world, Hall of Famer, coming back. So that was a big deal. He needed to qualify. They had this guy, Travis Pastrana, who does like motocross. He's been in the X Games. He's a certified badass, never driven a cup car before. So he's qualifying. He's on a team. And then there's these two Xfinity drivers. And then there's this one IndyCar driver, Connor Daly, that he wants to give a shot. He was actually on Floyd Mayweather's NASCAR team in this crappy ass car. His car didn't even start during qualifying, so he didn't get to qualify. So the way Daytona works, you have your qualifying day, where you can qualify on speed, which most of the normal drivers did. And then two of the guys, so Jimmy Johnson qualified on speed. Travis Pastrana qualified on speed. So then it was the two minor league guys and then plus the IndyCar guy that were vying for like the last two spots, right? So then they have the duels, which are on Thursday, which is kind of like a practice race that's 60 laps long. There's two of them, and it determines based on qualifying the starting positions for the inside lane and the outside lane.
Turn it down. We can't hear him.
I didn't do that.
All right. So the duels are going. First duel happens. Joey Logano wins it. Ford, right? So this is part of where my betting advice is. So second duel happens. Kyle Busch is in the lead. Kyle Busch is on a new team, high expectations. He's another certified Hall of Famer. He's never won a Daytona 500. He's motivated. End of the race is coming. And like I said, this is a practice race. So no one's like really trying, and you don't want to tear up your car for the actual race. Daniel Suarez is behind him. Suarez is pushing the hell out of him near the end of the race. So Kyle Busch loses control because Suarez knows that like KB just went to Mexico with guns. So he's like, I'm taking one back. Adios, amigo. He punts Kyle Busch into the wall, wrecks his car. Kyle Busch is pissed, like, what the fuck, man? You just wrecked my car during a practice race. Anyway, the race ends. Eric Almirola, Ford wins. So we're going to flash forward to Sunday. No one's asking for betting advice. And I'm a Suarez guy. He's a Chevy guy. But in my mind, Daytona 500 winner last year was a Ford, Austin Cindric, Team Penske. The two dual winners at Daytona last year, two Fords, Brad Keselowski, Buschler. This year, two Fords won the duels, Fords up front. The Fords are fast. Like, they always, like, so I'm like, Zoe, you want to bet on Ford. I put a little money on Ford, too. And then for the to pick, he wanted to pick to win, too. It's kind of a crapshoot. Anyone can win, but I'm like, Brad Keselowski, good on super speedways, has a fast car. I think he's a guy to watch. All right, so now we're going to go back to the normal race. Pretty tame most of the way. 11 laps to go. Keselowski was leading like lap 34. He's in control with him and his
real
teammate.
quick, he's not the guy from Monsters Inc.
No, different guy. He's from Michigan. Michigan, not Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
So him and his team, and he left Team Penske, who was a Ford team, to start his own team too, RFK Racing. So him and his teammate Chris Bushler, they're dominating up front. And the way super speedway racing works, like Daytona, you got to draft. It's all about finding your teammates or the same manufacturer and like working in tandem to like push each other / stay in a line so you can like cut down. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. That's the one thing Talladega Nights got right. Shake and bake. That's a real thing on super speedways. So they're controlling the race. They're up front. Caution comes out. So now they need extra fuel. So Brad and his teammate had to go refuel. So they get cycled back a little bit. So like Zoe, he's texting. He's like, hey, where's my guy? I'm like, he won the first stage. He was doing good. He was in first in the lead. Now he just cycled back. Now with 11 laps to go, he's starting to work his way back up front. He's in like 6th. So they're in position, right? They're 4th and 5th, controlling the high lane. They start rocketing their way to the lead because Bushler pushes Keselowski up front. So they're in the lead. Now, KB and Austin Dillon, Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon, their teammates. Kyle Busch had to get a backup car because his car wrecked in practice. It was a number 3 car. They had to repaint over to get the number 8 logo and everything on it. So him and his teammate, they get a run. They pass him for the lead, so they're pushing, and then everyone just abandons Keselowski and Bushler. So they get cycled out because everyone's following the Chevys. So now they drop back, and it's like, oh, crap. All the Chevys are on top. Keselowski's in trouble. The only guy that can help him out is Joey Logano, and he just hightails it with the Chevys and goes in the high line. So now Zoe's pick's essentially screwed. So Logano and Cindric, they leave Brad out to dry. So he goes to 6th in a matter of seconds, going from 1st. KB, now it's his race to lose. Kyle Busch has Austin Dillon pushing him, his teammate, and Austin Dillon's 1 of 500. He wants to help his boy out, so he's pushing him. Looks like they're going to win the race. Then all of a sudden, Daniel Suarez, back of the field, spins, throws it out of caution. So Suarez has now screwed over Kyle Busch twice. Once wrecking his car, and 2, when it looks like he's in control for the win, he spins out, caution comes out. So now they have like an overtime for NASCAR. The way an overtime works for NASCAR is you get 2 laps, green, right checker they call it, and then so if it gets to the white flag and then there's a caution, whoever like is in the lead gets it. So now they have a decision to make, Kyle Busch and his teammate Austin Dillon. They can either go behind each other and Austin Dillon can push them, or they can like do a controlled lane and like they'll take each, like one will take each lane. So Kyle Busch is like, let's just split lanes. So he takes the top lane, his teammate takes the bottom. And this was a mistake. So the green flag drops, and what Kyle Busch wanted to do was drop to the bottom lane so Austin Dillon, when he had a run, he could start shaking and baking and get a push. Well, Austin Dillon didn't get a good enough jump to get a push. Joey Logano, who was right behind Kyle Busch, did get a good enough jump. So he starts pushing Kyle Busch out front. Dillon didn't. So by the time he gets down, the bottom lane has no momentum. Joey Logano's lane on the top has the momentum. So now I'm all excited because I'm like, hey, Zoe, this is a Ford. This will be good. A Ford driver wins. We're winning our money. And I don't want to be a Bernie Madoff, take his money, and then all of a sudden, nothing coming from it. So, Joey's in the lead. I'm excited. Now all of a sudden, bottom lane, Kyle Larson, he goes 3 wide, tries to make a move with his Chevy teammates. But because he goes 3 wide, no one goes with him. So he starts dropping back. No one wants to go with him. He's just hung out to dry. As he's dropping back, he gets wrecked. Huge crash. Austin Dillon, Kyle Busch's teammate, caught up in it, wrecks half the field. Another caution. Now it's another overtime, right? Now it's Kyle Busch is pissed because he lost his teammate. He lost the control. So now it's Joey Logano near the top. So green, right checker time. Oh, it's Ricky Stenhouse. All of a sudden, he came flying in, so he's in the top with Joey Logano. So these two are kind of like battling out. Stenhouse has the top lane. Logano's behind him. Larson has, or Kyle Bell's behind him, Chris Bell or whatever. So let's see what happened. Kyle Busch, he gets a run behind Joey Logano. So they're trying to like move forward or whatever. But all the energy gets broke up. Stenhouse, he gets out by himself. He pushes he pushes Logano, drops to the bottom lane, gets a run from the Chevys. Fucking Logano's out to dry. He's kind of screwed. So now, as he takes the lead, Stenhouse is out front, and from that, this is where Larson shuffled back, created a wreck, and then all of a sudden a caution comes out because it's the last lane, green, white checker. So Logano, as they're even, it looked like Logano had won, but the caution came out. Stenhouse was in the lead by inches, and that's how the Daytona 500 ended. It was like a double overtime. Longest race in Daytona 500 history lap-wise because of all like the extra overtimes. It was kind of a poor way of explaining it at the end, but that's what happened. Kind of controversy. Kyle Busch, bottom line, got screwed by Suarez twice.
Yeah, so I didn't watch any of that shit. I just turned it on, and as soon as I turned it on, they started crashing into each other.
Yeah.
And it was like they would race for like 3 minutes, and then they would stop again, and then they would start again. So a couple questions I had. One, apparently you can get a speeding ticket in a fucking NASCAR race. Thought
Yeah.
that was the whole fucking point of NASCAR.
On
But
pit
you
lane,
can get a fucking speeding violation,
which is funny how it
wild
works.
to me.
Well, it's funny because you mentioned that. Ricky Stenhouse, who won the race, he got a speeding penalty like midway through. So he lost his track position and he avoided a wreck early on where he would have been had he have not sped. But because he was in the back because of the speeding penalty, he avoided it, which put him in position near the end to be in for the win. But it's for like safety for the guys on pit road. That's where you can get the speeding penalty.
I think it's kind of bullshit that they could just be like, well, race is over. You were in the lead. You win. Make them finish that shit.
Well, they used to. So the way it works, like for the overtime, like they would make him finish, but then you have guys like gunning it and there'd be a wreck or whatever. And so like it would create even bigger crashes because like there's two guys racing and meanwhile there's like a stalled out car and they're trying to make it around the track. So for safety reasons, they made it where if you got, because especially at a race like Daytona, everyone's pushing hard near the end and like teammates are thrown out the window. So everyone's just, they're making crazy moves.
As someone that was like watching it, like, all right, I'm going to try to get into this a little bit. That made me never want to watch NASCAR again.
It's
I
fair.
didn't even finish the race. It was like, this is lame as shit. It was like a tie in a spring training game. It was like,
Yeah.
that's the end. All this crashing, all this crazy shit's going on, and that's how it ends. I was like, this is bullshit. And plus, I lost money, so I was really mad. But I was like,
Logano was so close too. And when Larson,
I thought he won.
Huh?
I thought he won.
No, so Joey Logano, I explained it kind of poorly. So the last restart, because there was a caution that happens, and Dylan got caught up with it. So now it's Logano on the top lane. Ricky Stenhouse takes like the bottom
First
lane.
of all, Ricky Stenhouse sounds like the most made-up fucking name I've ever
It's
heard.
a real name, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He was dating Danica Patrick for a while before Aaron Rodgers swooped in there. But so Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who Brad Doherty, former basketball player, is his team owner. He's on a team with Brad Doherty.
I knew he was in NASCAR. I didn't know.
And he hasn't won a race in 199 races, which is the third longest streak in history. He hasn't won since 2017. But Stenhouse, he has the bottom. Logano has the top in this last caution. Logano had Kyle Busch behind him, and then Kyle Larson was behind Stenhouse, and then Christopher Bell is somewhere near there. So Stenhouse got the good run near the bottom. He got pushed out a little bit too far from Kyle Larson. So Kyle Larson tried to make a move toward the middle. And as he did the move to the middle, 3 wide, he lost kind of all of his momentum. So he starts shuffling back. Kyle Busch starts pushing Joey Logano forward because he's trying to make a run. So Logano's in the lead. And this is where I'm all excited because it's like the last lap of the race. As he pushed him toward the lead, Larson got wrecked. And as Larson got wrecked, Christopher Bell, who was behind Larson, he came and pushed Stenhouse a little bit. And that last push put him ahead when the caution finally came out for the big crash. And because it was the last lap, but once the white flag comes out, whoever's in the lead when a caution happens, that's the winner. Had it have not been the white flag with like 2 laps to go, then they would have done another overtime.
It was fucking lame. It was such an anticlimactic ending. It was like, and I don't know what the fuck's going on. All of a sudden, the announcer's like, "And it's over, and we'll wait and see who wins." And then Ricky Bobby Jr., whatever the fuck his name is, they showed his team going crazy. I'm like, that's what I messaged you. I was like, did I just lose? Like, what
yeah,
the fuck
it is kind
happened?
of a bogus way to end. Had it have been the second lap, they would have done another one. But last lap, they didn't want people racing toward the checkered anymore because people were getting hurt.
Isn't that the point of a race, to race towards the checker?
Yeah, but when there's the big crash like that on the white flag, because then guys in the back would be like plowing through a wreck because they're like, oh, there's points on the line. And it would just like people getting hurt and it was like even worse injuries.
I'm pretty sure I saw Lightning McQueen use his tires to spring off another car's tires to jump over a wreck. And he hit him with the Jordan tongue and winked at the twins.
Most NASCAR races don't end that way. Well, it's usually super speedways are like.
I don't know. It's gonna take a lot for me to give it. I'm gonna have to gamble on another race for me to watch it again. Because
one more fun fact about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Like most people don't like him. They call him Spinhouse because he causes a lot of wrecks. Like most people think he's a hack. And in fact, their exhibition race at the LA Coliseum, he didn't qualify for the main show. Like they have heat races and he didn't qualify. And then he ended up winning the Daytona 500. So just goes to show.
Anyway. My one question, in terms of the actual broadcast, were there too many commercials?
Yes.
Oh
my God, yes. It was.
And that's another question that I had. Why the hell is a convicted killer doing color commentary for NASCAR races?
Tony Stewart's a douche, first off. I don't like Tony Stewart.
Yeah,
he's boring in the broadcast booth.
Never liked
him.
Does.
So what happened with his case, he, after his NASCAR career, did like sprint car racing, which is like dirt racing. So it's a little bit harder to drive. And so he wrecked a guy during one of these sprint car races. And the guy he wrecked got pissed. So he got out on the track and was like yelling at him out of his car. And there's a caution. So
accidentally
driving
hit him with his car.
Tony Stewart, who has this reputation of being this intimidator, like fights a lot of people in pit lane. He's like, thinks he's a badass or whatever. He wanted to rattle his cage a little bit. So he like swerved at him. And I guess he like lost control and hit the guy. So the family obviously was all pissed because they're like, he ran him over on purpose. And Tony's like, no, it was an accident. Like, I lost control of the car. He shouldn't have been on an active racetrack. And the deal breaker was the guy was high. They found like marijuana in his system. So that's kind of what got him off. It's like, well, he shouldn't have been walking out on an active racetrack. And it's hard to drive a sprint car. So he got away with the manslaughter. And that's why he's in the booth. So
Tony Stewart is 5'9". He a little guy too.
Yep. From
Never
Indiana.
liked Tony
I think he's
Stewart.
really tough. He likes fighting people. Here's another fun fact for you. Joey Logano, when he was young, he joined NASCAR when he was 15. So all these guys are always trying to bully him. Like, they'd always race him really hard. And Joey was like, well, like, hey, like, why are you doing that? So like Joey got sick of it eventually. And he starts wrecking him back. They created a monster with Joey Logano. And so like Tony Stewart's like, hey, what the hell? It's like, hey, man, that's just like short track racing. Like, hey, you did it to me. I'm going to do it back. And like, he's like, oh, don't you ever race me like that, you son of a bitch. And they got into a big fight when he was a teenager. Like afterwards, like he was trying to beat him up. And then Joey and his goons came in.
I do want to confirm that I started doing something else and I had left the TV on and I listened to a Joey Logano interview. He does talk like that.
Yeah.
Like, that's not
hilarious. I love Joey because he's funny. He's like a two-face. Like, he's a psycho.
Holy
like,
shit,
you talk to
Jeff,
him, and he's like the nicest guy. He's like, hey, like, oh, shucks, we lost. And then he's on the racetrack. He's a psycho. Like, he'll just wreck you for no reason. Like, someone will bump up and be like, hey, take that, buddy. Just spin him out. Does not care. No friends on the racetrack, but he's like this nice guy off of it. He's insane.
Jeff Gordon's 5'7"?
Yeah, he's short, too.
Oh, yeah.
Are they like jockeys? Are all NASCAR guys
No,
short?
I mean, look up Ryan Newman.
Well, Michael Curtis Waltrip was 6'5". He's the tallest ever NASCAR racer.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about speed. Like, you're sitting in that car for a long time. You can't be like that tall.
Wait, so Mitch, was this like a new, like, why were there so many commercials? Was it really that much more than previous?
Daytona is like their Super Bowl. And so obviously if you're going to advertise NASCAR race, you're going to want Daytona. So this is almost paying for the rest of their season, this race. And so especially the first couple stages, because like the final stage is when things are heating up. So they don't want to have any commercials during the last couple like stages. So early on, so many commercials because they're trying to cram it in. So in crunch time, they can keep it on like the action, which is like fine. But like, I wish they would go like side by side or something. Cause there was like one point they'd come back and like, and there's a wreck, half the field destroyed. And like, you completely missed it. It's like, what the hell? So, but like from the advertiser's perspective is like, we're not paying all this money for you to go like split screen.
Yeah.
So it's, it sucked, but I get why it happened.
God damn, Tony Stewart's worth $100 million.
Yeah.
Must be not.
He's a very good. I mean, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer too, but he never won the Daytona 500. That's always a notch people like hold against him. So that's where Kyle Busch is at, where he's like, I've done everything I need to do in my career except win a Daytona 500, and he would have had Suarez not spun him out. Another reason I love Suarez because he screwed over that douchebag. So.
Oh, that was rough. It was not a good day for my journey.
You were close though. I was feeling pretty good about the Keselowski pick. Stage one in control with like 11 to go. It's not our day.
The way that fucking ended.
Yes, Yumper. Mark Martin's a Hall of Famer, even though he never won a championship. He's a Hall of Famer.
He's like a Dan Marino.
Pretty much, yeah.
Sorry, that was the extended NASCAR minute.
It won't all be this long, folks.
No, because I actually watched NASCAR, so I was upset.
What's the next race, Mitch?
Fontana, which is going to be a good one with this new car, and they're tearing down the track after this year. Like this, but for a while, like NASCAR just came out with a new type of car, which is really good on like the cool, like intermediate tracks, which forever, like the old car was not good on intermediates. This one's excellent. Like the racing's great. So Fontana, because all the older races were like kind of lame, they're like, hey, let's take it down and make a short track. Well, last year, Fontana was like one of the best races of the year because the asphalt's really old, which makes for like good racing. And as I said, it's like an intermediate. And you can go 4 or 5 wide, which is like insane. But this is going to be the last one, and they're tearing it down. So I think it's going to be an excellent race, but it's going to be kind of sad because as the intermediate tracks are getting good. They're tearing it down.
Joe Montana?
I said Joe Montana.
No.
I said Joe Montana, you fucking idiot. All right. You guys got anything else?
Bet a Chevy next week. Chevys are going to be fast.
I ain't betting shit. I'm on a couple-week break from NASCAR.
Still has
after
to
that
prep.
bullshit.
Still has to prep for the Coca-Cola 600.
Yeah, after
Yeah,
that
right.
fucking
Right.
bullshit. God damn. That was
I'm gonna try.
tough.
I do want. I'm gonna try and demo this fanny pack on Saturday during that Sox playback with Brian. So we're gonna fill and then unfill this.
A 6-pack challenge.
7.
Oh, 7. That's right. 7-pack.
However many I can fit in there will be the challenge. That's
So
fitness.
remember,
Fitness in the old fanny pack.
go subscribe. Tell everyone you know to subscribe. Go buy some merch. Watch the playback on Saturday for the White Sox preseason opener. And yeah, subscribe on YouTube. So for Mitch Fids, although I'm Zoe, we'll see you guys next